So I wanted to talk about the coaches in this segment, starting with big win for Oklahoma. Alex Grinch even declines to interview for the head coach job at Washington State. That went to former Hawaii head coach Nick Rolovich. I think that's a nice fit. But I wrote a story about saying, hey, he's going to have to pick between what I think is a better job at being defensive coordinator at Oklahoma, especially right now, and being a head coach at a Power 5 in Washington State. He chose to stay. He chose to try to continue to do this, which is huge because Lincoln Riley's been able to do what a lot of head coaches aren't, which is continue to keep the continuity of his coaching staff intact. Like they're not really taking other jobs, right? He's fired the people that he doesn't want around. But leading into that, there's been some scuttle about defensive line coach Calvin Thibodeaux.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Well, there was this rumor about defensive line coach. I don't even know how this got started. It was on like some North Texas site. So I'm on my radio show. It was a couple of days ago, and I get this text like, "Hey, do you know anything about this?" And I was sent a screenshot of some North Texas site saying that Calvin Thibodeaux was interested in being the defensive line coach, and then somebody, I got another text saying, "Hey, there may be some rift between Grinch and Calvin Thibodeaux," and I was like, "What?" So I started looking in it just because it didn't. I guess it made sense a little bit because maybe they're trying to look and make a different move, but at the same time, and I know people don't like. Sometimes they're like, "Well, that 2018 class didn't pan out very well. Neither did 2017." Okay, number one, 2017 was his first year to recruit at OU. 2018 was his second year. And at the time that class came in, guess what? Everybody lauded how amazing that defensive line class. It was one of the greatest defensive line classes OU has ever brought in. Period. That's what everybody said. They didn't pan out. A lot of the guys left, blah, blah, blah. Perkins has panned out. Jalen Redmond's there. But the rest of the guys seem to have fallen off or transferred out, what have you. The 2019 class and the 2020 class both look to be pretty good. There's some big-time talent there, and he's built depth and he's built talent on the defensive line, and you got to give him a chance to develop it, continue to develop it, and see where it goes. Because guess what? Last year, was the defensive line the problem? No. And guess why? Because he was doing a good job coaching it, and he recruited all those guys except for Gallimore. So that's number one. Number two, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand where people were saying there was a rift between them because I've never once heard somebody say, you know what, Calvin Thibodeaux is somebody that nobody likes on the staff. Not ever have I heard that. Everybody likes Calvin Thibodeaux. Everybody thinks he does a good job recruiting. And once again, here he is bringing in JUCO guys that are the two top JUCO defensive linemen in the country. And that's because Gallimore and Overton and Famatahu, guys he brought in, they were leaving. So it makes sense. If you're going to get talent, you got to get talent that everybody else in the country wants. And that's what he did. And that's what he's done. And everybody that I've talked to, Noah Arinze, they think he could be special. He's only played football for like 2-3 years total. He has no idea what he's doing. He's just doing it off raw talent. No idea. And he broke some St. Louis record with 36 sacks last year. I mean, he's got stupid stats. So, I mean, he's doing a good job. That's why it didn't make sense. So when I put it up on the board, I was like, guys, I've talked to a few people, and they said, I guess maybe it's plausible because of the connection between OU and the North Texas staff. But other than that, they just don't see it, at least not this year.
The most plausible aspect of it is Calvin Thibodeaux was the only holdover on the defensive side when Lincoln Riley cleaned house and brought in Alex Grinch, and Grinch brought in guys that he had coached with. So the only thing that made sense was that he perhaps could take a defensive line coach that he had already coached with and insert him there. I hear you saying Ruffin, but Ruffin doesn't really have a position to coach.
He's untouchable anyway.
Well, but he also doesn't really have a position to coach, right? I mean, you can say you coaches rush ends, but that's Brian, right? You could say he coaches defensive line, but that's Tibbs. Ruffin's value is to Lincoln, and that's enough, right? That's enough. But the only part that felt like it could be real is, Grinch was able to bring in everybody else he wanted. Why wouldn't he want to bring in a defensive line coach that he wanted? That's the only thing that made sense to me.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. That makes sense, and that's what they kind of were getting at when they said it's plausible, the connection, and Grinch, blah blah blah. But they never heard once there was a rift, and they all think that he's recruiting, and they like what he's done on the defensive line. I mean, how could you not after last year? The defensive line was one of the biggest strengths of that defense, and one of the reasons why they were so good in comparison to years past. I know everybody wants to harp it on the LSU game, but we can get into scheme when we talk about that. And rushing three guys isn't going to get it done against LSU, and that's what they did. But that's neither here nor there. They did a good job developing those guys, and you're going to get to see that in the draft with Gallimore getting finally his due, being a late first round, early second round guy potentially.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. That's Brandon Drum, lead recruiting and team writer for OUinsider.com. I'm RJ Young. I do a little bit of everything, including produce this podcast. We have a special running right now. You can get in the door for $1 a month, dude. It's pretty good, especially for the folks that read the VIP board, where a lot of the insider information and news is located. Brandon has team notes almost daily, sometimes twice a day. He doesn't get a lot of sleep, and he works his butt off. Thanks so much for joining, Brandon.
I appreciate it, and RJ does an amazing job. I think you have a thing coming, or you got the part 3 coming on the to the next level. How to get to the next level
As
thing?
soon as I sit down and write it, but we had this
I'm with you on that.
This recruiting thing.
Colin has his up right now. Colin has his up. It's really good too.
Right on.
We have a thing going. What they have to do to get to the next level, get to the national title. Our thoughts on it. Joey has one. Colin has one up, and RJ and I will have one up in the coming days. And I got a quarterback notes, and obviously I got some visiting notes coming as well on OU Insider. So and RJ's got stuff that he does every day on there and drops little notes and nuggets, videos, all that stuff. So there's a lot going on.
Appreciate you, Brandon.
Yep, thanks.